So the way that life was before the communication courses was I always felt misunderstood and that things weren't fair. And that ended up in my life, ended up creating addiction. I really struggled with alcohol for a while, and well, not for a while, for like 15 years. And I always constantly had the sense that people didn't understand me, right? If they could just understand my experience, they would understand that it's difficult, and I don't have control over this thing, and you know I always felt like I was misunderstood, right? And when I was in the communication course, one of the things that I got from myself was that I'm misunderstood and that the world is not fair. And that was my perspective. That was the point of view that I had, that I was trapped inside. And that I was always going to feel misunderstood, and things were always going to feel unfair to me inside of that point of view, inside of that context. And during one of the exercises during the communication course, I had another person in front of me, right? So they do a little exercise, and it's called creating. And what I discovered for myself inside of that conversation was that I was creating being misunderstood, and I was creating that things were unfair. That's not the way that they are. So I had it that like being misunderstood was out there with other people. Other people were misunderstanding me, and things weren't fair, right? So it's kind of like I was a victim of the other people's misperception of me, and the world not being fair. And what I got was that I was creating that inside of the point of view that I was really trapped in, right? So what I was looking for is what I was creating. And so I was actually creating the way that the way that I showed up in the world. And so the way that I showed up was not because of anyone else or any external circumstance, any external situation, any external perspective. That I was creating, right? So other people were seeing me, and the way that I was showing up in the world was my own creation. And the beauty of me being able to distinguish that for the first time was that I had the power to create something else. So me distinguishing the point of view that I was trapped in gave me access to the power to create myself differently, right? So after the communication course, anytime that I felt like someone is not understanding me right now, or my God, this is not fair, I could stop and say, oh, okay. So how could this show up differently? How could I create this situation differently? So if I'm creating being misunderstood right now, it's not over there with the other person, right? There's something that I'm doing that's creating, the misunderstanding, or, whatever the case may be. So now, whenever I have that feeling or that thought, right, that thought doesn't go away. But what happens is when I have that thought, I can stop. I can get the context in which I'm viewing the situation, and I can create myself a different way. So now I have the power to create how I show up in the world. And how I show up in the world is it's over here with me. I have the ability to do that. No one else has the power to do that. No one else has the power to impose themselves on me, right? I have the ability to create those things. And now I don't feel helpless. I don't feel like it's not fair. I don't feel any of those things. I have the power to show up. And so, I'm a person that's in long-term recovery from alcohol now. And, my relationships go very differently. And I can be 100% responsible for the way that I show up in my life, and, what there is to do about things. And so life is very different now. I have the ability to, have grace and ease in situations. I have the ability to communicate effectively with other people. And I have the ability to change the way that conversations and things go, because they go the way that I say that they go. And now that I know that I have that power, then it's over here. It's up to me to then choose, how I want to show up in the world. And that's what I got out of the communication course. And now I really recommend all the people that I love and care about to actually participate in the communication courses, because they get access to understanding the point of view that they're trapped inside, right? It's kind of like a filter that you see the world from, and everything shows up inside of that, right? So people get the capacity to distinguish whatever that version of it is for them, and then also this understanding that they have the power to create by choosing a different context. And that's an amazing power to have as a human being, because we can't control our circumstances. We can't control other people's points of view and other people's opinions, judgments, etc. But we do have the power to create, how we're going to perceive those things and what we're going to do about it. So that's what I got from the communication course.